Howdy folks, it's the first week of April 2025 and welcome to This Week in the West. I'm Seth Spillman, broadcasting from the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum in Oklahoma City. On this podcast, we share stories of the people and events that have shaped the history, art, and culture of the American West, and those still shaping it today. Seeing Pistol Pete, the Oklahoma State Cowboys mascot, on the sidelines of a game, cheering and high-fiving, you might assume that Frank Eaton, the man who inspired the character, was just another colorful, light-hearted figure from the Old West. But you'd be wrong. This week we remember the death of Eaton, who passed away at age 97 on April 8, 1958. His incredible story begins much earlier on a moonlit night at his family's homestead in Twin Mound, Kansas. Frank was just 8 years old when he was awakened by commotion outside. He watched in horror as his father was gunned down by 6 men, former Confederates turned lawless vigilantes known as the Regulators. As he stood beside his father's lifeless body, a family friend, Mose Beeman, placed a firm hand on Frank's shoulder and said, "My boy, may an old man's curse rest upon you if you don't try to avenge your father." From that moment, Frank Eaton was set on an unshakable path. Beeman gifted him his first gun, an old Navy revolver with an 8-inch barrel, and taught him to mold bullets and fire with deadly accuracy. Determined to prepare himself, Eaton trained relentlessly, shooting the heads off rattlesnakes according to family lore, and perfecting his aim. By 15, he set out for Fort Gibson, a cavalry post in Indian Territory, hungry to learn more. Though he was too young to enlist, the soldiers at the fort allowed him to compete against their best marksmen. Eaton outshot them all, time and again. Impressed by the boy's remarkable skill, Colonel John Joseph Coppinger pinned a marksmanship badge to his chest and declared, "From now on, you're Pistol Pete." The name stuck, and his mission was unwavering. Eaton turned his focus to finding his father's killers. The first 2 men, Doc Ferber and Shannon Campsey, were hiding in a cabin near Weber's Falls when Eaton rode up. He caught Campsey reaching for his rifle. Without hesitation, Eaton drew and fired, killing him. Ferber emerged soon after and was shot down. Over the next 3 months, Eaton hunted down 3 more of the 6 men who had destroyed his family. Only one remained, Wiley Campsey. He'd fled to Albuquerque, New Mexico, where he was working as a bartender. With the help of the famed lawman Pat Garrett, Eaton found Campsey and challenged him to a duel. As Campsey reached for his weapon, Eaton's pistols roared, and, according to legend, 2 bullets went straight through Campsey's heart. Campsey's friends returned fire, wounding Eaton in the leg and arm. Garrett rushed in to help him escape. With his vengeance satisfied, Eaton turned his attention to starting a legitimate life as a lawman. He reportedly served as a U.S. Deputy Marshal in Indian Territory under the infamous hanging Judge Isaac Parker. Though official records remain scarce, tales of his exploits, duels, chases, and daring showdowns, spread far and wide. In 1889, Eaton rode in the Oklahoma Land Run, staking a claim near Perkins, Oklahoma. He was looking to settle down. He became a blacksmith, married, and started a family. After the death of his first wife, he married again and had 8 children with his second wife. Around Perkins, he became a living legend, telling stories of the untamed West and demonstrating his remarkable shooting skills. Eaton looked the part, too, sporting a thick mustache and long braided hair. He was never without his cowboy hat, a rough leather vest, and a 6-shooter on his hip. In 1923, the larger-than-life Eaton was invited to ride in an Armistice Day parade in nearby Stillwater. That day, cutting the figure of a grizzled old cowboy, Frank Pistol Pete Eaton caught the eyes of students at Oklahoma A&M. Tired of their uninspired tiger mascot, they wanted a new symbol for their athletic teams. Eaton inspired them with his look and story. Oklahoma A&M became the Cowboys, and a character of Eaton evolved into Pistol Pete, one of the most recognizable mascots in college sports. As the years passed, Eaton continued to share his stories. He wrote 2 books, Veteran of the Old West, Pistol Pete, and Campfire Stories, Remembrance of a Cowboy Legend. While entertaining, they're often considered more folklore than fact. After his death, Eaton was immortalized in sculptures across Oklahoma. In 2022, he was posthumously inducted into our Hall of Great Westerners here at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum, ensuring that the legend of Pistol Pete will never fade. And with that, we'll holster another episode of This Week in the West. Our show is produced by Chase Spivey and written by Mike Kaler. Follow us and rate us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you hear us. That'll help us reach more people. You can follow us on social media and online at nationalcowboymuseum.org. Have a question or a suggestion? Drop us an email at podcast@nationalcowboymuseum.org. We leave you today with the words of Oklahoma State graduate Danford Hall, who said this about meeting Frank Eaton as a child in 1955. He had twin braided pigtails extending down his back, which were tied with bits of red bandana, and a bushy mustache in matching gray, which was wild and tangled like thick underbrush. I noticed the skin of his 95-year-old face was dry, hard, and deeply furrowed, like a piece of neglected boot leather. The skin looked like a living relief map of the Oklahoma and Indian territories he helped settle. Even though he was slight in stature, the 6 shooters strapped on each hip made him a giant cowboy in my young eyes. Much obliged for listening, and remember, come find your West here at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum.